Okay, welcome everyone. Can you guys hear me okay in the back? No? You can, it's not on? Oh boy.
I can hear you over here.
You can hear you? Okay, so it's one of them that's working and one of them that's not. Okay, can you guys hear me if I just talk like this in the back? Is that acceptable? I have never been called anything but, or never been called quiet, so that will just be okay. I'll just turn that off. If one's working and one's not, it'll be okay. I would like to welcome you guys all to Senior Parent Meeting Night. I appreciate your time, and I understand that everyone is busy and has a lot to do. I think it's best to have everyone gathered, that way everyone gets the same information at the same time. So thank you. I do have extra red folders that are not specific to your student, so if there is 2 different households or something like that and you want an extra one, there are blank ones with no name tags in the far back of that box. You can grab one of those as well. I am far enough back, and with the sound and the mask, I can't be that loud with the mask on. So I hope that's okay with everyone. So we're going to cover quite a few things tonight, and like I tell the kids, some of this is going to pertain to you and some of it may not. And I understand and respect your time. If you need to leave or if you need to step out and make a phone call or take a phone call, whatever it is, that will be just fine. I have no problems with that. I am recording it. I will send out the link. So that way if there's something that isn't, you're not sure of or need help with later on, that will be available. So first off, how many of you guys, this is your oldest child that's graduating from high school? Wow. Okay, so a lot of first-timers. How many of this is your youngest child, or they're not your first child to graduate, so you've kind of been through this before? So if you've been through this before with me, I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Another meeting with me. As we go through the folder, if you are missing pages, please feel free to let me know. I did this back and forth different times, and when I was finished, I had a stack of extras that I shouldn't have had. So the lucky winner may have like slides 21 through 39 missing. If that's you, let me know and I'll get those to you. So anyway, all right, we are going to go ahead and get started tonight. And a lot of these things, Coy, you're going to have to help me out, right? A lot of these things I have already covered and went over with the students in Mr. Hill's class. But just outlining what my role is as the counselor. I work on academic, social and emotional, and career. And it feels like at certain times of the year I'm heavier in one of those areas than in others. Beginning of the year, a lot goes into academic and getting class schedules. Career, scholarships, starting now, going on and continuing. So a lot of those. A big component is social and emotional. We work on self-management and awareness, social awareness, relationship skills, and responsible decision making. And those are big components, especially senior year. Okay. Sometimes it feels like this. As a parent and as a student, there seem to be it is a roller coaster of emotions. You and your child may be feeling happy one moment, scared, sad, worried, all sorts of things, and feeling that pressure build up. Everyone has a breaking point, and I understand that. I have those throughout the year as well, but knowing that they can reach out, knowing that they have a support system, and knowing that people are there for them. It also looks like this. And sometimes I relate to like one of those emojis way more than the others. So it's just fun. Contact information. I hope by now you guys all have my contact information and know how to reach out to me. My email address. My cell phone is in there within reason. If you call or text or you need something, I always tell the kids, Mama needs her beauty rest. So like between 10 and 6, I'm off duty. So if there's something important that you need that needs to be taken care of that moment, reach out to me. If it can wait and we can do it the next day, something like that. But as the year progresses, don't feel bad if you do reach out to me. If I'm not available, I don't respond at that point in time. So don't worry about bothering me. My school, I do have a web page. It's one of my realistic obtainable goals this year is to get that a little bit better. But it's on the school website. It's the Frontenac 249, and I always tell the kids they're students and I'm the counselor. And I tried to find a decent picture. When I presented, I was wearing the same dress when I was presenting, so that's how I roll, I think, sometimes. So everything would be on here, my contact information, how they make an appointment. Coy, you feel like you guys pretty much know how to do all of that, get everything taken care of. But if you need that, you are, as parents, you are more than welcome to do that as well. Okay? So, this is a quick review. All of your kids know this. They have the 28 credits that they have to have in order to graduate, and everything filters into one of those categories. If they're here all 4 years and pass all 8 classes every year, they're going to graduate with more than 28. That's math. That's okay. Everything will go into one of those subsets. And we went over with seniors that you have to check me. I have 275 that I have to make sure are on there. So if you don't have speech, you need to reach out to me. I had a kid the second day of school say, Miss Niederklein, I don't have an English class. That's a problem because we were going back and forth between 2 English classes and got neither. So that's a problem. So we should have right now have all of those things worked out and they are good to go. Kansas Scholars Curriculum. Most of your students, all of your students have heard this since their first year with me. Just to verify with you, sorry, you can't see that page number, that's number 7. About 10% of the students across the state of Kansas graduate with this more rigorous curriculum. It includes higher level math, higher level science to include chemistry and physics, and 2 consecutive years of foreign language. We offer Spanish here, and every year in early January, I report to the state all of the students who have completed those criteria. That gets submitted from every school across the state, and then the state does an index and offers the top 10% $1,000 renewable scholarships. So those are called Kansas State Scholars. So this curriculum is kind of tricky because you can be a curriculum completer. You could have checked all the boxes, but not be a scholar. So that's a different thing to put on resumes and applications and that sort of thing. If they fit into this category right now, they are a Kansas State Scholars Curriculum Completer. So that's what they are. After the index, and last year I found out after graduation is when I found out who was designated scholars. Usually it's in April. I really don't like the word usually anymore because that seems to go out the window. But on average, the students who are offered the $1,000 renewable scholarships who are state scholars, on average their ACT is about 30 and their average GPA is 3.91. They have to go to an in-state school. Kansas is not going to pay you to go to Colorado. Just not going to happen. Something happened. Last year, I had kids that had a way lower ACT, but a high GPA, and were still scholars. So it just depends on the probably 6,000, 7,000 other kids across the state of Kansas where they fall. Hi, ladies. If you can go ahead, double check, make sure your email's right. Okay. If it is, initially, if it's not, fix it, and then grab your folder for your student. Oh, okay. So timeline. Everyone is wanting to know, what do I need to do? When do I need to do it? And by now, your students should have a personal Gmail account. And I emphasize Gmail account because their school email is actually a Gmail account, and everything can transfer nicely from one Gmail account to another. So they're not going to be using their @students249 anymore, most likely after this year. So be thoughtful and appropriate when making that Gmail account, that you're not being ridiculous. because you're going to be asking people for a job or scholarships, and you want that name associated in a well manner, right, Chloe? Yes, so we've talked about appropriateness on that. College visits, career options, attend college presentations. Last year we were not able to have any college presentations or military tables come in. This year I feel like I'm being inundated. I got something from the college, Rhode Island College of Design. Has not been a popular one to bring in lately, but I'll do it if I need to. I am having groups and colleges come here to speak during seminar, and then also opportunities for students to go off campus for those tours and visits as well. One of the things that, if you guys, I don't know who in this room, if anyone was able to go see Peyton Manning. I somehow snatched tickets. But Peyton Manning's family was all from Tennessee, right? And he played, Ole Miss, and he played at Tennessee. And the question was, why not continue the family tradition? He's like, because it felt right. This is the place that felt right. Your kid and you need to find the place, the thing, the college, the career, the whatever that feels right for them, and they're going to be successful. So whatever that looks like, trying to get that in the right area. I send out a lot of emails. I had you verify your email. I've realized that when I do regroup and then when I email to the students that I can't, anyway, it's a technological issue. Vars and I are on it, so that's why I asked to update your emails. So I've been sending students out with weekly newsletters for scholarships. They may be choosing to forward some of those to you. Starting hopefully by the end of this week, you will also be getting those, okay? So that way you guys have all of the same information they have. And I tell the kids, it is fine to have a delete folder that because it's not everything's going to pertain to you. I know that, but I'm not going to pick and choose who gets what information, okay? October 1st is when the Fafsa opens up. So we're going to spend quite a bit of time on that tonight because even if you have a child that graduated last year, there are significant changes. Christmas, apply to colleges. Take your pen and circle Christmas, draw it out, something, because priority deadlines for most colleges are starting early and earlier. So priority deadline means you get all of your stuff in by this deadline and you get this biggest section of pool of money, okay? So they need to be looking at where they are. Some are October 1st is when it opens. Some are October 1st when they're due. I tell kids, if you don't know where you want to go, apply to several different places. It doesn't matter. Most of them, a lot of colleges have application waivers that it's free to apply. So you may as well apply to 2 or 3 different institutions to see where you're going to get the best bang for your buck, but you want to do that early so you don't miss out on any of those opportunities. So if you wait until the very end and you're like, oh my gosh, I've only thought about this place and now I want to go here. Last year I had 3 students. We do senior signing day in May before graduation. Last year I had 3 students that they sat there and they said, this is where I'm going. And before school started this year, they were somewhere else. So you want to make sure that you have those opportunities open and available, okay? College visits. Seniors get plus or minus 2. Well, that's because some kids need 0. They know exactly where they're going, or they have a ship date for the military. Maybe they need a MEPS appointment to go to Kansas City with their recruiter. Sometimes they're in C-Tech now and they're going to finish off and go through something else and have an internship. So that college visit may look a little bit different. It's not an actual college visit. Some kids may need 3 or 4 depending on what they're wanting to do, where they're wanting to go, what they have to do if they've applied somewhere and been accepted. Maybe they have something specific that they have to go for a scholarship interview or something like that. So plus or minus 2 in the ballpark. they need to touch base with me. They need to tell me what they're doing, why they're doing it, who they're going with, some questions that they're going to ask, and bring me back some information. If they're going to like UCLA every Friday, like that sort of thing, then that's probably not okay. They need to listen for announcements on college reps that will be coming here, because you never know what a place may have to offer a student if they don't check it out. We are having group visits as well. So we'll go over this in a little while, but I take every senior to Pitt State. Not because I think every senior should go to Pitt State. Sorry, BB. Sorry, you didn't hear me. Okay. Not because of that, but because of geography. We are closest, that's our closest school. So we have a whole day planned where I'm taking every student. We are going through every department. We are going through a Bicknell, like behind the scenes of the Bicknell tour, Plaster Center, the Axe Library. Mr. Hill has it all scheduled there's some Frontenac shrine in the basement of the library. Didn't know about it, so I'm going to trust him on this. But that way, not because I think they should go to Pitt State, but because every student would have exposure what a college campus, what a college classroom would be like. Oh, hey, wherever I want to do, whatever I want to do, I can go and I can seek help from these people, whether that be in an industry or a job, but they have that overall, that idea of what that experience would be like. All right, Regents curriculum. This is wrong now too. So, it's an ever-changing everything. So Regents curriculum, Kansas Board of Regents is the governing body over all of the higher institutions in the state of Kansas. And they have put out different criteria in order to be eligible to go to school, to be accepted. So Wichita State, Fort Hays, Emporia, and Pitt State say any student who graduates from high school and they either have an ACT of 21 or higher, or they graduate from their high school with their final transcript of 2.25, they can be accepted. They are accepted, okay? They don't have to have any specific classes. How many of you guys kind of remember like, oh, you had to have so many classes, or you had to have Spanish, or you had to have whatever? That's gone. That has changed, okay? That is the scholars curriculum. To be accepted into those colleges, it's just that. KU released recently that they're taking ACT out of the equation. They are GPA only, so just cross off the ACT part of KU. I have no idea on K-State, to tell you the truth. I haven't been able to go through it. Now, obviously, the higher the ACT and the higher the GPA, the higher likelihood of receiving scholarships or a merit-based scholarship or an academic scholarship would be, okay? And also, if they take any dual credit classes here in high school, they have to get a 2.0 or higher. So you can't be taking college speech, an online class through Labette, and fail both of them. Those go into the equation as well. Also, for dual credit classes, it does not matter how many credits they have in high school. Your students will be considered a freshman next year unless they have completed, I believe it's 24 credits since they graduated high school. So 24 is a lot, but they look at them as an incoming freshman only on the credits that they have completed since their graduation date. I don't think anyone in here should do 24 credits during the summer after they graduate before August of the next year. So everyone's an incoming freshman. Everybody's going to want to say, but I have these and I want to I'm going to be a transfer student. The colleges don't look at it that way, okay? So because they have not really been a college student on a college campus with those college responsibilities. Kansas degree stats. If you look back in I color-coded everything because that's kind of how I roll. Right after the presentation, go to the purple page. Kansas degree degree stats is a really fun, well, I mean, in my world it's fun, so your resource that is put out by KBOR. Again, that's the governing body of all of the schools. So they, that purple page goes through specifics on what everything is. So you can choose an institution in the state of Kansas, or a degree title, or a keyword search. So if I'm looking for cosmetology, I can find all of the schools in the state of Kansas that offer an associate's degree in cosmetology. Then you can go into there and see from that what they cost, what the graduation rate would be, what the pay would be, all sorts of different stuff. The example in here is on English, and then you can go through everything from there. So it is a really useful tool if your student is looking at a variety of colleges in Kansas. Obviously, Kansas Board of Regents is not going to publish that for other schools or other states, but those sort of things could be available as well. Okay, so if you want to head on back to slide 13. COI. I keep putting you on the hot seat, Bobby. Sorry about that. But should every kid take the ACT? No. No. There are a lot of very successful people that have never taken the ACT. They don't need to. It depends on what you want to do after you graduate, what your career path is, and what you need in order to get there. Some kids may need to take the ACT 8 times. Some kids may need to take this ACT 0 times. So it depends on your student. I do not want, and I hope your kids are not feeling pressured at all to take the ACT, because if they want to go to a trade, they want to go into the military, they want to go into the workforce, they want to continue on with an internship, whatever that program may be that doesn't require it, they don't need to put themselves through that. Okay? Some kids, you saw from the ACT scores, some kids, depending on what their ACT score means, more money. At a certain level, you get more money. At a higher level, you get even more opportunities, honors college and such. So it depends on the kid. If your kid has no interest in that, they don't need to do it. They may need to do something else. So like for any community college, they can take the AccuPlacer, which ironically is free, but it's also published by ACT, so that's a whole other issue. But and that's a placement exam to say which English and math classes they need to go into. So if you want to look at right after the purple page, there's kind of a teal green page with the ACT test dates. Here is the same information that the kids have of when the dates are, when they need to register by, and of course you can register late for a $35 fee. They also can have their scores sent to up to 4 schools for free. I have them do 4 schools, even if you're not sure about that, because if you want more than four, or if you say, hey, I'm only going to this college and this is where I'm sending it, but you change your mind and you have to call them back and say, hey, send it here, they will do that for $16, I think it is now, $16. So it's, anyway. So that is the information on there. They do have, I do encourage them, whatever they're going to do, make sure that they are studying. If they're taking the ACT, they can decide, am I going to do it? Am I going to take it serious? Am I going to study? Am I not? Do I need this or do I not? Again, I use Pitt State for geography. You can get into Pitt State with a 2.25, but if you want to go into the College of Education, Nursing, Business, or Construction, you have to have a 22 or higher on your ACTs. So it kind of goes back and forth. So you could get in, but maybe not into that program. Other testing options, I went back and forth, sorry, is the Asvab for students that are looking at going into military. That score is good for 2 years. And that's a placement exam as well, because it is something that, depending on how high they score, could depend on what rank or what job positions that they would be able to have. Work keys, if a student is going into a trade, I know Crossland Construction, they pay, I think it's like $1 extra an hour depending on what their work keys score would be. So there are lots of different opportunities for that. Preparing for the ACT, by now you've seen the Magoosh stuff, you've seen, I call it the Big Red Bible. The year doesn't matter, I'm cheap, I go on Amazon, ACT Prep Guide, whatever one's the cheapest. If the new one's 25 and the last year's is 18, that's where I go. So the year doesn't matter, same information. All right, so the next part we're going to be talking about is the price of colleges. So I have been going back and forth looking on their websites, okay? And some websites are easier to utilize for colleges and sticker shock and, oh, request it from here rather than just saying up front. Here is a rough estimate, okay? So, depends on where your student is living, whether or not that room and board is going to play a part in that equation or not. So you have to find out what the housing rules are for whatever they're doing. I always tell the kids what is going to get the best bang for your buck, and then you have to look at too how much you're going to make after you graduate. And that Kansas Degree Stats is really good. I don't like to live in debt. So where can you get, what do you need to do, how can you get from point A to point B and not have to work the next 35 years to pay it off? So, I mean, you want to have, some things taken care of. I use Friends. I love Friends University. It is a small school. It is a gorgeous school. It is a clean school. It is a nice school. I absolutely love Friends. That's one of the only private colleges that I've been to in the state of Kansas. But it is, private schools are private for a reason, and they are more expensive. So a lot of times the private schools will offer kids, hey, we'll give you a $10,000 scholarship, or we'll give you a $12,000 scholarship for that. And holy smokes, $12,000 scholarship is huge. That's a lot of money. But when you start looking at how much it is overall, it may or may not be as feasible as what they're making it sound. So just be careful with that, okay? Financial aid. So, financial aid includes grants, which is free money, loans, which you have to pay back, work study, which is you work during the day or in an office or something like that between classes, and they pay you for that, and also scholarships. So the FAFSA, free application for federal student aid. You will probably receive information and people that will volunteer to help you with that, but you pay them a fee. It is a free application. You do not have to pay someone to do it. So don't pay for something that's free. If you need help, let me know. There are plenty of free resources out there. This is used for a lot of different reasons. Some colleges, you have to complete the FAFSA to even go through part of the application process. Sometimes it is used for scholarships. Sometimes each school kind of has its own bank of money, so they are able to wiggle some things and move some things around depending on that. So there are a lot of people that may not qualify for a Pell Grant, but having that could help set your student apart in other opportunities. Sorry, that's slow. So it's an equation. So every college, every community college, every trade school has a cost of attendance. That's kind of the chart that I was showing you earlier. They take into consideration tuition, fees, room and board, all that sort of stuff. Then they take the expected family contribution. And that's found from the through the Fafsa, how many kids, how many this, everything. And that determines your financial need. So it's a scale. Some years may be different than others, okay? 1 year somebody may qualify, 1 year they may not, depending on what those scales have been through. To get for a Pell Grant, the maximum Pell Grant to be dispersed for next year is $6,495, and it's dispersed mid-October of the following whenever they start school. There is, and I put the link and also the website on there in case you wanted to do that. This is not open until the 26th of September. Go figure. It opens October 1st, so that's super helpful. That's a whole nother story. So the estimator is a real quick that you can put in how many people live in your house, how many are going to college, what you make, that sort of thing, and it will give you an estimate. It's just that, an estimator. So at least you would have something to go on, but it's not open until the 26th of September. I encourage, okay, so I don't think everyone should do the ACT, right? We clear on that? I kind of do think you should do the FAFSA if there's a 1% chance they're going to somewhere other than work, military, something like that, because it is, when it opens, it's a pool of money. And when it gets distributed, and when it gets this, and when it gets that, you don't want to be in that situation where mid-April, your child has had a total change of heart and they want to do something, and then you have all of this stuff to do in just a short amount of time. So I do encourage families to do it, and to do it sooner rather than later. Here's the criteria to get federal student aid. That's on page 23. Selective service is something that Mr. Hill will cover in government class as well. So males have to be registered for the selective service. When you're completing the FAFSA, if they are not, they don't have their selective service number, there is an option there that they can go and register for that at that time. There are other types of financial aid. There are states, every state has its own pocket of money. Every college is dispersed their own pocket of money. So there are lots of different options. In the back, towards the back, the light pink form chart. I know I'm color coded and I'm charts. It's just how we roll. The light pink, as opposed to, can't remember what that color was. The light pink one has a list of federal or financial aid programs, the maximum that they can get, kind of a brief overview of the difference between subsidized and unsubsidized, that sort of thing. This is not my area of expertise. I'm not going to claim that it is. I always refer you to that college's financial aid department, because they are up on what is going on with their college, with their information that can help you the most. I don't want to give you misinformation. This is just kind of a playbook, not everything. Just an overview, an idea. All right, so 25, slide 25. So we've talked about it's the free application, so don't pay somebody to do it. You have to do a couple of steps first. You have to get a PIN, and you have to get a PIN as a parent, and the student has to get a PIN. It opens October 1st when you can start filling out the information. You can get your PIN now. If you already have your PIN because you have an older student, your PIN is your PIN, but the student needs theirs. The information that you will need, the tax information, is from 2020, okay? So 2020 tax information. And there is a phone number, including the live chat, and I have called them and they have been helpful. It's been a while, so I'm not sure what the wait time is like. It's going to be a lot more around October 1st through 5th, I'll just tell you that. One of the reasons I have the kids make their own Gmail account is because whatever they choose to do, they need to be using that Gmail and then checking that email. There's like this whole thing that some of them decide they don't have to check emails anymore. Drives me crazy. But if they get an email and this scholarship or this opportunity is due on this day and they don't submit everything, then they may lose out on $500, $1,000, $1,500 or some opportunity to do something else. Give the schools the paperwork they need in a timely manner, and it is, sorry, BB, don't listen. Becky, don't listen. It's not uncommon for you to have to submit the paperwork multiple times to the college, okay? And there are some times that maybe you submitted something and maybe they didn't get something. Transcripts, financial aid, this form, that form. So it just happens. They have thousands and thousands of people applying and getting that shuffled. So if you think you have turned it in, I would get verification from them. Common issues. Biggest thing that every financial aid workshop I go to says the parent use their social security number instead of the kids, or date of birth gets switched, or something like that. You're worried about all of these taxes and all of these numbers, and you get the date of birth switched. So if your kid has your date of birth and you have theirs, it's a problem. So it's one of those things. All of my kids want to be independent at this point in time. You know this and I do. However, unless they meet one of that criteria, they are considered a dependent student. So they have to meet one of those things in order to not use your taxes. I went to get caffeine before here. Met one of my kids that graduated a couple years ago, started talking about school, and he's like, I'm going to do it, and I can do it on my own because I've been out. I haven't lived at home for a year. And I said, well, baby, that may or may not be the situation. Call me and check with me. We'll go through it. So that is a thing. Who is my parent? This is a chart that's fun to go over because with mixed households, with blended households, with all sorts of different things, they have a chart for that too for financial aid. So there's a yes, no going through. Okay? So if you get audited and you have put the wrong parent's information and stuff on there, it could be a problem. The IRS data retrieval tool, they added this a couple years ago. The first year it was terrible. Next year, I swear by it. There is literally, if you have filed electronically for your taxes in 2020, when you get to that point, you can do an IRS data retrieval tool, and it will automatically go into everything, and it is fantabulous. It is, I really do like this. You have to verify. I would still have the hard copy or whatever you have your taxes there to verify, but it makes it a lot more seamless. Okay, so scholarships. Nope, I'm not ready for that yet. Go back. Go back to slide where it says pin 25. Head back to slide 25. Sorry, this is how I roll. So, how do I apply for financial aid? Go to the bright pink page first. This is kind of a checklist of what to do before you get started. It takes about 30 minutes. Okay? It takes about 45 the first time. Okay? Because you want to make sure everything's right. Right? Would you say about 45 the first time? And then you're still double checking. After that, it'll get quicker. So here is something that I stole from, I don't know where I stole it from. I usually steal Kentucky's, but they haven't listed theirs out yet. So here's kind of a checklist of what you'll need to have. On the back is, again, who's my parent when I fill it out. Apparently that's a big thing. The next two sections are purple and blue. They are like that for a reason, because whenever you fill it out, the parent section, notice I put parent down at the bottom. If you're missing pages, let me know. I have some extras that didn't make it into some folders, so sorry. The parent, I put parent down at the bottom so you know this is the parent information. The blue pages are for student. When you fill out your PIN, okay, so the whole FAFSA takes like 45 minutes. When you fill out your PIN, it takes about 30 minutes too to do the PIN, because that's the crazy one, that you have to get all of your information right before you can go on. So when you do it, when you go to get the PIN, then you have to get the PIN first. Then it is color coordinated. The parent is like this light purple, and the student pages are like this light blue. You have to have, for your student has to have a PIN, and you have to have a PIN. So I went through and I created, if you've done it before, it's different, because it is. So I went through and I literally entered my stuff. I have so many FSA IDs, it's not even funny. So this is the information that you have to enter. I printed it out for a reason. If you are anything like me and you have a password, a username, a security key that you use one time a year, there is zero chance. I don't even know the ones that I use every day. I still have to whatever. So I really, really encourage you to sit down with your kid and fill this out as you're putting it in, and make changes, because all of a sudden what you normally use as your username is not available, and you are never going to remember the one that they assign you. So literally write on this is yours, so you can refer to it next time. Last year's class was yellow. 3 folders were yellow. And I had parents say, can I come talk to you about the yellow folder? Yes, because they had this. Okay, we need to fill this stuff out. So your kid will have to have it, and you have to have it. Page 2 of this, step 2 of 7. Step 3 of 7 is contact information. And this is where you have to be really, really careful on that date of birth and social security number. That's one that gets transposed a lot. Step 4 on the blue, I like to get text and email and every single thing possible. Then they'll have to confirm your phone. So you'll have to make sure that you have service and then put that in and continue on. Challenge questions. Oh my gracious. Okay, so this page that says page 5, it says challenge questions. You have to come up with 4 different challenge questions and the answers. Okay? So on the back of that, I have put all of the FSAID challenge question options. So what I would do if I were you would literally number this, number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever you pick, and then put it in there. If you put Raiders, like your high school mascot, you put Raiders, you may or may not remember if you capitalized Raiders or if you left it all lowercase. So write in everything that you do and label that. Section 6 and 7, I could not print out for you because I couldn't. It's signature stuff. So I wrote out for you what you need to do to confirm and verify, and then verify the email and phone. If you don't get all of those 7 steps done, then you don't have an FSA ID. You don't have an FSA ID, you can't apply for FAFSA. You can't do that. Yes, ma'am. No, on the student one, put the student. On the parent section, sorry, I was on the wrong color. On the parent section, put all the parent stuff, and then the student has to have their own FSA ID too. Yep, sorry, I mixed up on my colors. Purple is parent. So a parent has to have one, and a student has to have one. If you have a student in college already, you can merge your FSA ID, and you can just add your new kid. Okay. After the blue page, there's another pink. And this is also from KBOR. And it has all of the different Kansas scholarships and planning guides and everything like that can go on there. And then on the back of that, they have more information, kind of steps and tips that are throughout this thing. It's a lot of the same information, but at least you know that it is what is important. Okay, now we're ready to go. Financial aid can be used in trade schools, can be used at anything that would require a degree or a certificate or anything like that. So I have students that are finalizing CTEC. They want to go back and pick up another certification. They can use financial aid in order to do that. And there are a lot of scholarships and programs available for people in the trade that they can usually come out with 2 certifications in 2 different areas and have 0 money out. My scholarship wall, I will email, so I email out scholarships. I will also be putting them on our old career cruising, which is called Zello now. There is a place for those to be. Scholarship board will be starting about in January. This is just outside my back door to the south, and students can pick up paper copies of that, and I also email those out. The very last page is the Frontenac Education Foundation information. If you have ever been to Fafsa, then you know that Fafsa is part of Frontenac Education Foundation, and they support all of our graduates. So every single, oh, it's not the last page in yours. I'm sorry, it's the last page in mine because you have your other information. Every single graduate from Frontenac High School will receive a $150 scholarship per semester for up to 4 years. They have to fill out a Google form by a deadline. That's it. The Google form includes their student number, where they're going, their name, that information. This all goes through the Frontenac Education Foundation. I do not have access to that information. That is something totally separate from me. I am not part of the foundation because I can't mix 2 different things together. So all of that has to go through Mrs. Brown, and her contact information is there. When it says deadline is August 10th, that means deadline is August 10th, and it usually opens in May. When it says deadline is December 31st, that deadline is December 31st. It's a hard deadline. So even if they've gotten it for 2 years and they forget 1 semester, that's what it is. Okay? The page right in front of that. The page right in front of that includes important dates. This is what I have shared with the students as a Google Doc because it is changing. So it is one of those things that is constantly going to be changing, but that way you have the information. So our next big thing coming up, October 1st, FAFSA opens, and the October 15th, the tour at PSU. So it says $8 at lunch. I'm trying to get that free. So that way you can plan on that and that sort of thing. I'm trying to get it free. Once I know for sure, I'll let you know. But all of the dates that I could think of are on there. If it is it says college application due or whatever, you and your child are going to have to double check those application deadline dates because it seems like a bunch of them changed, and that's just how it is. I put quite a few things in there in May. They are on the school calendar. They are confirmed. They are set up. I know a lot of people have people that come in from out of town, that sort of thing. So you have now in September dates and times and when things will be. On May 9th, the senior signing day, that's something we started here a couple of years ago. We usually have a representative from the Kansas Department of Education come down. And how many of you guys have been to it or seen that we do the senior sighting day? It's a pretty cool thing, Sonny. What do you think? I mean, so where all of the seniors sign their letter of intent for whatever they plan to do after they graduate, whether that be an internship, a trade, a community college, into the workforce, military, whatever they choose to do. So that is separate than the senior banquet. Okay, did I get all of my colors taken care of? Okay. All right. So a couple more things. A lot of people, a lot of students are interested in playing sports after college. And if that has been something with your student, then we have already worked through some stuff. If that becomes an option and we need to start that, we need to have that ball rolling so we don't miss out on those deadlines. There are 3 different divisions on Saturday. We usually watch on the major networks D1, D2 or the smaller schools, Pitt State. Division 3, the closest one to us is in St. Louis, so I really don't know anything about it. Checking with coaches is going to be the first thing, but also making sure that their classes align with NCAA Eligibility Center and that they have had the right classes in order to continue that on. Okay? All right, your last 2 pages. Your last 2 pages, and this is why everyone's name was on the front, because of privacy and because of information. Your first page, I went into, talked with all of the seniors, and we talked about my job. So my job is for academics. So you can see academic needs there and academic goals. We talked about social and emotional. We talked about after high school, what they want to do. They made 3 realistic, obtainable goals, and I told them that I was sharing it with you. Okay? So that may be something that you are already aware of. We had a really great conversation about when you fill out a form, you do it in ink, and when you sign your name, you do it in cursive. So that was a great learning moment for a lot of my kids as they're clicking their pencils. So whether or not that's something that is news to you, if this is new, if this is something that you are aware of, I just thought it would be kind of neat to share with you where your child was at and what they were thinking at this point in time. Yes, things will change and circumstances will change, but that's where they are right now. The next page is their transcript. Their transcript has a lot of information on it. If you don't feel comfortable having that in there and you want to take it out and shred it, I completely understand. I respect your students' privacy. So if they bring this around or if they whatever, know that is in there. Date of birth, full name, date of birth, every class they've ever taken, every grade, that sort of thing is in there. We have verified it with them with a fine-tooth comb that everything was there correctly and represented. The bottom left-hand corner includes their class rank and their GPA. That is ran at semester. So at semester it will be different. In December, because we have kids that have moved in and out of the grade level, so their GPA is what they earn. The class rank is where they fall in the class. That used to be more important. K-Board changed that. They used to say you had to have this, or graduate in the top third of your class. But some scholarships require that as well. So what I always tell them is you want a high GPA, as close to 4.0 as possible, because that's the highest you can get, and a low class rank, meaning closer to the front. They've had 6 semesters, and this is what they've earned. Not a lot changes. There's not a huge jump in the last 2 semesters of high school. Okay? So that's why I meet with them every single year and show them their transcript and go over the information. Okay? I know we covered a whole lot of information. That's why I'm giving you this so that you can dissect it. If you have specific questions about your student or about something, or you missed something, reach out to me. I will help you. I will help your child. It is perfectly okay. That's what I'm here for. I call and make friends at a lot of different places because every school, every trade, everything may have a little bit different. So if it is looking at University of Arkansas for this specific program and this specific thing, and that's for one kid, that's what I'll do. Okay? So I still have Baylor saved up on my favorites, and I haven't had a kid go to Baylor in 2 years, so I need to clean some stuff out. But are there any overall questions or anything questions that you had or wanted covered that I didn't talk about, didn't touch base with?
Can you tell us when the yearbook pictures are due and what the requirements are?
No, I can't. Sorry, she asked about yearbook. I can't. That's Ms. Zimmerman.
Okay.
Yep. I show up, I take the picture that day, and that's all I do. Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea.
And is this senior trip that's on this list, is it like school sponsored?
So everything that's on the important date list is school sponsored. I don't include anything that's not school sponsored on here. So this senior trip is when they go with their senior class sponsor, Mrs. Beasley. I don't know if they're going to. Coy, do you guys know where you're going yet?
No, I think we'll probably vote on it yet.
Vote on it soon. So maybe Branson for a day, Kansas City for a day, Tulsa, I don't know, whatever it is. So that is that. Sunny Zafuda. Oh no, it's not you?
No.
Sunny helps with, are you helping with that or are you the chair of that? You're helping with that. Who else helping? Okay, so Carrie McGowan and Sunny Zafuda are doing project graduation, doing all of the outside committees, any trip, any whatever fundraisers, that sort of thing that is not school related. When's your next meeting?
Sunday.
This Sunday here at what time? 6. Okay, so perfect. So plan to attend that. They do a lot of good stuff with project graduation. You use the school, but it's not a school-sponsored event. So anything in here that comes from me is school-sponsored. Anything that comes outside that will say project graduation committee or whatever like that is a parent, is kind of like the senior-only PTO. So however to say that. So, well, how do you want me to say it, Tina? I don't know. So, all right, if you have specific questions for me, I will be more than glad to answer them. If you want to hang around, whatever you need. Thank you guys so much for coming. And was I close to an hour? It was close, yes. All right, thank you guys.
Okay.